we are coming back with another week of jump reviews.
Yep.
And I think we're going to start off with, I guess, Chainsaw Man, because
Chainsaw Man.
you love it. It's pretty hype. So yeah, we'll get it going.
Yeah, and chapter 96. This kind of taste, which I kind of just read the title just now. Man, wow. I mean, this chapter, I can't even I guess let's just go through it and then kind of our reactions. Where you see the end fight, right, so to speak, and you see Makima smoking a cigarette, like she's she just had excuse my language, great sex.
Yeah, okay. Weird place to throw the ball to me.
Well, I mean, but it's funny because I don't think she could smoke because she starts coughing. So,
though I'll give you that it's, I guess, a bit of a stereotyped thing, and given the fact that he's in love with her, I do understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
The thing, I guess, that I didn't really read it that way originally, but I could see where you would draw that from. I'm more shocked by I was very confused when just a shadow in the background kind of pops up, and then you're like, no way, is that and then you flip to the next page and he's just there with a chainsaw.
Heck yeah, with the reflection on her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was what a cool guy, bro.
Yeah, I was super confused about how that even happened. He just gets this. To be honest, it's kind of funny because this scene and this, I guess, death blow, if you will, is both really anticlimactic, but super, super perfect at the same time.
It's satisfying, but it's also it wasn't a big pop off.
Yeah, basically. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting, normal Denji, because this isn't, this isn't Chainsaw Man. This isn't Chainsaw Man
Denji
via slash Denji, whatever. And then it's just literally Denji with a chainsaw. And I think that's just kind of cool because, you would expect it to be from the most powerful form, right? That's kind of usually how it works, or something like that. But instead, it's just basic Denji, who he was before all of this kind of started.
And it's actually, and I agree with the first chapter when he had the chainsaw as his weapon, or I guess he had Cheetah as a chainsaw.
Yeah.
So, one thing I wanted to say though, I guess two things really when it comes to page when he actually runs out and right before he attacks Makima. I guess page 4 where you see the reflection on her face on the chainsaw and he's about to attack.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually very. I don't know if you saw the image I sent you, where it's actually similar to the first volume or actually first chapter of Chainsaw Man, where he has the chainsaw next to him and Makima's in the reflection. So it's again been hinted at. Also, if you look at the chainsaw itself, I don't know, kind of where it's revving up, you see little prongs or little horns that supposedly well, as readers now I see it oh, that's probably power, it's just a little nod to power because without power this wouldn't happen.
Oh, fair. I to be honest, I kind of didn't. I can see it. Oh, you mean at the front, where the actual blade is?
Yeah, where the
okay. Yeah, I didn't even.
Yeah, that's her horns. So
I didn't even see that. That's interesting. Their powers came together to defeat her. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. Also, another thing, I don't know how, again, how he mentioned crappy movies and stuff like that. Have you ever seen the actual movie Chainsaw Massacre?
Sorry, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, the Texas. It's a bad movie. Essentially, it's really a shitty, crappy horror movie, but it made a lot of money because it was super cheap and outrageous and stuff like that. He wears a similar outfit. Granted, he wears what everyone else wears, the whole public service thing with the black tie and everything.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But it's funny because it's just very similar. It reminds me of that where because to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, kind of he wears something similar. So yeah, but that's just something I wanted to bring up. But I do agree. It was I mean, I was happy when he kind of came to fruition, and it's kind of funny. You were basically right a few reviews ago. Where well, how is Denji gonna suffer if we already know he could throw his heart out to the from from space and stuff and still live.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Remember when he like got kicked? I forgot how he got.
yeah, and yeah, he was just in space, right? And he just like ripped it out of his chest and kicked it back down. But no, yeah, I don't know. I guess this is evolution of that or something.
Mhm.
I don't know. He made the fake clone. I don't even know, man. I didn't even know that was a thing. So there you go. I wasn't even like thinking of it that way.
But
He
it,
just
but, but, it, but it's funny because I do remember you saying like, "Oh man, like he kicked his heart from like space and he was still good." And like, because I remember like, yeah, he did rip it out because he was in space. Like I forgot how he got there. He got kicked up there or something like that. He ripped his heart out and he sent it flying down and he like reformed around the heart. So yeah, it
well,
was
it's I guess it's also a little weird though, right? Because doesn't he say he pulled off a part of his heart? What's the exact thing that he says?
that Denji
Uh
was fighting the whole time. That was a Cheetah I tore off my heart. I really remember being able to fight like that. So yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I guess yeah, he just it wasn't even his heart, right? Technically speaking, he just pulled
No.
Pochita off of his, which was I guess giving him the power, right? And then the chainsaw esque man clone formed out of him, and wow, that's yeah, that I don't know, man.
Was it like just like, wow, this is kinda,
I guess he was just as OP because I was kind of, commenting a couple of, like last review, probably in the review for that, where, I don't really enjoy super OP characters that, they're not actually doing their own fighting. And funnily
yeah.
enough, Denji kind of pulled the ultimate one of that.
You
It's like,
thought. Yeah.
literally, they had me in the first half.
Yeah. Not
You
gonna
know?
lie.
Yeah,
It worked.
that was literally the experience of this fight where I
Yeah.
was sitting there thinking to myself, "There's no way he wins this." But yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty good.
And
Again,
it's
a
funny.
little almost anticlimactic, I feel, because she also
Yeah.
kind of just sits there, right? And I
Well, like,
know it's because of the blood thing. I
mhm.
know, but I was still just kind of thinking to myself, really? After everything we've seen, there wasn't, one last ace up the sleeve, like,
Well,
replace your blood with somebody else's. Like, come on,
yeah,
I'm
I know what you
surprised
mean.
after everything.
But it's funny. No, I do agree with that. In some aspects, it's kind of like, yeah, it was like the hidden blow. I am a big fan of that. But what I was really gonna bring up is, well, he acknowledges like, well, this is not enough. Like he knows this one slash won't be enough to kill, even if he's using the help of like Power's blood and stuff like that, and his own
I
chainsaw.
know, I know.
Yeah.
It's just something about it at the same
And then
time.
like,
I'm just like, she doesn't have an answer to this after everything. She doesn't have an answer to
I
this.
mean,
You
like,
know,
there's amount of dead bodies, and I guess not.
I come on. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I still
Well, like,
feel.
going through the chapter, we still don't know if it will, really succeed.
Oh, it
If,
will. Dude, it definitely will. There's no way.
yeah, because
So I
like
mean,
after
okay.
the master comes up, that guy that looks like Mad Mickelson. um, yeah, it just hard cuts to like civil life, just kind of okay, this and that.
It was pretty abrupt, all things considered. Especially,
Let's do that.
the last bunch of chapters have kind of refrained from. Well, not even the last bunch of chapters. I would argue, kind of since Power's death, the chapters have been not, I guess, calm in any way, shape, or form. The scenery, like everything's been very intense or very dark, and there's a very striking contrast in this one because everything goes like white in the last number in this chapter. You know what I mean? As opposed to a lot of the darkness that populates a lot of the other pages, especially when they're
But
in the city.
that's very true. Now, before the big like kind of reveal, like what did you assume that they were talking about, if you had any, or do you just kind of like reading through and like what are they talking about?
I
When
was a little confused because I did kind of understand it from the standpoint of, well, clearly, he's rejoined. That's why they're still talking, right?
yeah,
Um,
like he's still alive,
yeah,
like
exactly. And then I don't know. I think it's very interesting, and I guess it's really punctuating it where he says, "Don't you die, Denji? Out of all the devil hunters I've known up until now, you're the one most suited for the job." I think that's
yeah,
kind of interesting because I would argue at the beginning of this series, you would think that he's kind of the last person that's best suited. But with the way I guess he comes up to solve the Makima problem, it's I don't know.
It's
Definitely
very
the last thing I could possibly think of. It's creative.
same here. Going back to, I guess, you know, answering my own question. I was wondering, like, man, I don't know what they're talking about because, like, okay, they could assume like, all right, she's dead, but not really, because she could probably always come back with her abilities, or so to speak. Because she's just basically, I don't want to say all powerful, but goddamn, Nazis don't exist anymore, so there's that. um, yeah, well, because of Chainsaw Man mainly, but yeah, honestly confused where she was talking about what they were each other talking about. But now obviously when that big reveal when it go towards it is very like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess he would be the only one that could do it. And yeah, and then you kind of going on towards the chapter, you see like Denji talking to Makima, and I'm like, man, like honestly, when he was talking, I'm like, is Makima like, I don't know, like I was honestly thinking of a more gruesome image. Like I don't know, she's like hung up
Oh,
on.
I went split like personality almost.
Really? Okay, I went
Yeah.
more like she's like, I don't know, her body's like kind of similar with the big reveal where
Skeleton in
like
the closet.
something like that, or like her body's chopped up, but like they're all like separated. I don't know, something like yeah, like on a cross. I was
Oh,
thinking,
okay, okay, Ice Truck Killer
yeah.
from
I
Dexter.
was
Like,
just
calm
thinking,
down, buddy.
well, like the imagery in this like whole manga, I'm like, all right, let me think, but he did it pretty subtly, especially towards like the last page, where like, oh, kind of that was literally my reaction while reading this. Like, oh, okay, brought that again, huh? So yeah, basically the big reveal is he's eating her, and I'm like,
Yeah, I had to flip back when I read that because the fridge scene at first it's very subtle in a weird way. I
it's
mean,
like,
it's not because you're
yeah, it's a.
definitely reading those or seeing those. I mean, what is that?
I'm not
Why
gonna
is
lie.
this fridge like that?
Before let me just butt in. I'm not gonna lie. You saying that, I do agree because when I saw, all like, man, that's a lot of containers. Like what is up with that? Like
It's
that.
suspicious, but you think to yourself, okay, it's Denji. He's finally got a job. He's maybe like, buying pre-boxed meals or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's just stocking up. Like this guy hasn't spent most of his life not eating, so maybe he's
yeah.
finally like adjusting. But no, not at all.
It's
They put Makima through the wood chipper apparently, and
it's her.
yeah,
Yeah. Like, oh my god, he's eating her, and
but I don't know. It's is it cannibalism? I don't even know if
yes,
you.
like
Yes, I
yes.
mean, literally, like,
Would you ever
what?
expect this reading that in a Shonen Jump manga?
Not at all, man. Literally, no. Are you kidding me, dude? This guy literally just ate his enemy. That
Yeah,
that's like Mario literally one day deciding to cook Bowser and just
yep,
have like turtle gumbo for dinner.
yeah.
You, or I guess, yeah.
I mean, I guess he got his good meals, you know.
I don't know, man.
Um,
I don't know how to feel about this, to be honest with you. I
honest
want to sit here and dive into it, but at the same time, I never in a million years would have guessed this was how this was going to end.
Same here. Definitely there's only gonna be a few chapters left because the series is gonna end soon. They revealed it. They mentioned it before. I think it's gonna end in the new issue when it comes out next year. So I want to say probably 2 or 3 more chapters. Kind of like around, I think, when One Piece 1000 comes out. But
That's great.
yeah, when reading this, I was like, oh, okay, because if again, his previous work also characters kind of eat other people, so I'm like, oh wow, way to
He's
bring it
come
back.
full circle again. Yeah.
Yeah, he's come full circle again. Question though, do you think so you know how like Chainsaw Man when he devours a devil or a something like that concept of a devil, right? Like they disappear from like every existence.
hmm
So like even like when Nazis and other stuff and evil stuff kind of like disappear when they question the guy like, hey, remember that? Like World War II, what the heck is that? You think if he eats Makima as Denji, you think Makima will like cease to exist? I think that's why he's like doing that.
To be honest, I don't know because has that ever applied with Denji?
I don't. That's a good point. I don't think so. It's usually only applied to Chainsaw Man, but he does have his powers. So
That doesn't mean I don't know, bro. Not that they're the same shonen, but Kurama didn't exactly like Naruto couldn't just turn into a Nine Tails. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Kind
that's
of
true.
thing. Um,
hmm
Well, I mean, I guess like he could, but
Well,
you know what I
uh,
mean.
one thing also, before we pretty much wrap this up. Well, I guess my final thoughts on this chapter was just like, cool, he did it, and then I was like, whoa, like I was not expecting the big bad to end like that. What a finishing blow. What a like like
It's
this is my
adding insult to injury.
this is my final attack. Soy sauce. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Soy sauce on a frying pan, that's pretty
Yeah, I
savage.
know.
It's
I'm
kinda like when you get beat by Mr. Game& and Watch in Super Smash Brothers. He
uh,
runs in there and hits you with, the frying pan or the bacon side things.
yes.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, this was like another shock chapter where it's like, I mean, again, I guess I wouldn't thought of it like how would you beat her, right? So another shock chapter, but like in a good way, I think, not like kind of just shock for value. I think he did it very subtly. You know what I
I
mean?
would agree. Oh, yeah, for sure. And to be honest, I guess for the series, again, it just makes sense because
Mm.
you have these super high impact moments followed by very, you know,
Somber.
yeah, and yeah, they're valleys, right? They're kind of
Mm.
like these just bottom level moments. They're huge in terms of what they're revealing to you, but they're downplayed. So it creates that interesting kind of contrast because that's a huge event, but he's sitting on his own in an apartment.
Yeah.
It almost doesn't make sense. That's
This
not
is
how that's
yeah.
supposed to happen, you know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
Harry
This is
Potter
his
defeats Voldemort,
yeah,
everybody's there, right?
yeah.
So,
This is
uh
his like spirit bomb attack.
right? So, I
Yeah.
don't know, it was interesting.
Yeah.
It's definitely obviously coming to a close.
Of course.
So, we'll just have to see, I guess, what kind of additional information gets revealed. I'm
So
assuming we're just gonna
oh.
see maybe a flash forward
Oh, well, actually, yeah, because look, the final chapter hits December 13th. So basically
next week.
next year. Yeah, the final chapter. I totally misread that. Wow, that's crazy, man. That's I'm curious how it's gonna end, but I'm happy though. I'm happy it's like this has been a roller coaster of a series.
I feel you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
On to the next one. What do you want? What are you down for?
We're gonna do Build Kings.